This was the moment humanity had prepared for since first contact 3 years ago. The Galactic Council controlled trade routes, technology sharing, and defense across 12,000 worlds. Earth needed their recognition to survive in an interstellar community, far more advanced and dangerous than humans had ever imagined. The Grand Arbiter, a tall being with shimmering purple skin and 4 arms, spoke in a voice that seemed to bypass their ears and resonate directly in their minds. The representatives of planet Earth may approach the central podium. Olivia stepped forward, her colleagues following closely. The diplomatic team had rehearsed this moment endlessly, but nothing could prepare them for the reality of facing the most powerful governing body in the known galaxy. Esteemed members of the Galactic Council, Olivia began, her voice amplified throughout the chamber. We come seeking recognition and membership in your ancient and honorable institution. A low murmur rippled through the assembly. From a platform to her right, a reptilian being with scales that shifted colors with its movements leaned forward. The species that calls itself human has barely achieved rudimentary space travel, it hissed. They have not even unified their own world government. What possible contribution could they make to this council? Before Olivia could respond, another voice cut through the chamber. This one belonged to a small, almost childlike being with large eyes and 6 tentacle-like appendages. More concerning is their history of violence, it said, its voice surprisingly deep. Our observers report 17 ongoing armed conflicts on their world even as they stand before us seeking membership. The accusations continued, each more damning than the last. Humanity's environmental record, political divisions, and technological immaturity were all laid bare before the assembled representatives of thousands of worlds. Olivia waited, allowing the criticism to wash over her. This too had been anticipated. When the chamber finally quieted, she looked up, her gaze steady. Honorable representatives, we do not deny our flaws. Earth is divided, sometimes violent, and certainly young compared to many civilizations represented here. But we ask you to consider not what we are, but what we might become. She gestured, and her colleague Marcus activated a holographic display. It showed Earth's rapid technological advancement over just the past century, from basic flight to space. Exploration in mere decades. No other species in Council records has advanced from atmospheric flight to interplanetary travel in less than a single generation. Olivia continued. Our adaptability is unmatched. The Grand Arbiter tilted its head, all 4 eyes blinking in sequence. Adaptability alone does not qualify a species for Council membership. True, Olivia acknowledged, but perhaps this will. Marcus adjusted the display, showing a mathematical formula that slowly rotated above their heads. The chamber fell silent. This is our solution to the Cavalian equation, Olivia explained. A problem your mathematicians have struggled with for 3 centuries. One of our scientists solved it last month. The silence deepened, then erupted into chaos as council members conferred with advisors and each other. The Grand Arbiter raised 2 of its 4 arms, restoring order. How did your species solve what our greatest minds could not? It demanded. Because we think differently, Olivia replied simply. Humans approach problems from unexpected angles. We see patterns where others see only chaos. We imagine possibilities where others accept limitations. The reptilian delegate hissed again. You expect us to believe primitive humans surpassed the collective intelligence of the Council? Not surpassed, Olivia corrected. Complemented. That is what we offer, a new perspective. Different ways of thinking. Solutions you might never consider because your civilizations have developed along different paths. A new voice joined the discussion, a being composed of what appeared to be constantly shifting blue light. The human speaks truth. Their neural pathways are unlike any Council species. They make connections that would not occur to us. The Grand Arbiter considered this. Your species remains divided and violent. These are not traits we wish to introduce to the Council. Olivia nodded. We understand your concern. That is why we propose a provisional membership. Allow humans to contribute our unique perspective while we continue to develop. Judge us not by where we stand today, but by how quickly we advance and how earnestly we strive to improve. The chamber erupted in discussion again. Olivia and her team stood silently, knowing the next few moments would determine Earth's fate. If rejected, humanity would be isolated, potentially restricted from further space development, vulnerable to species with far greater technology and resources. After what seemed like hours, the Grand Arbiter raised all four arms. The chamber fell silent. The Council will recess to consider Earth's petition. Ambassador Marsh, your delegation will remain on station until our decision is reached. As they were escorted from the chamber, Marcus whispered, "Do you think they bought it?" Olivia kept her expression neutral for the benefit of the countless eyes still watching them. "They're intrigued. That's all we needed, to make them curious enough about us to give Earth a chance." Once in their assigned quarters, the human team gathered around a table. General Diana Cole, the military advisor, spoke first. "If they reject us, we need to be prepared. The defensive systems we've developed might buy us some time, but against Council technology..." Olivia raised a hand. "Let's not assume the worst yet. Our strategy worked. They're fascinated by how we think. The Cavalian equation was the perfect demonstration. A demonstration that cost us our biggest bargaining chip," pointed out Raj Patel, their economic specialist. "If they grant provisional membership, what else can we offer that they don't already have?" Olivia smiled slightly. "That's the beauty of it, Raj. We didn't actually give them the complete solution. What they saw was impressive but incomplete. There's more where that came from." As night fell in the massive space station housing the Council headquarters, the human delegation waited, knowing that somewhere in the station, thousands of alien minds were debating their fate. And with it, the future of humanity among the stars. Delegation prepared for their return to the Council chamber. "They've been deliberating for 18 hours, said Raj, checking his specialized translator device. "No species has ever received this much Council debate for initial membership consideration." General Cole adjusted her formal uniform. "That could be good or bad. Either they're seriously considering our petition, or they're discussing how best to contain us." The door to their quarters slid open, revealing their assigned guide, a tall, willowy being with iridescent skin that seemed to flow like liquid silver. The humans had nicknamed her Sylvia, though her actual name was unpronounceable to human vocal cords. "The Council has reached its decision," Sylvia announced, her voice melodic. "You will return to the chamber immediately." As they followed Sylvia through the labyrinthine corridors of the massive station, Olivia noticed increased activity among the various alien species. News of the human petition had clearly spread, generating curiosity about these newcomers to galactic society. The chamber doors opened again, revealing the same imposing scene as before, but with a palpable tension that hadn't been present during their first appearance. Olivia led her team to the central podium, standing tall despite feeling the weight of thousands of alien gazes. The Grand Arbiter's voice resonated through the chamber. "Representatives of Earth, the Council has deliberated extensively regarding your petition. Never before has such a young species sought membership. Your civilization has not yet achieved planetary unification. Your technology remains primitive by Council standards, and your history suggests a concerning propensity for conflict." Olivia maintained her diplomatic composure, though her heart sank. This preamble suggested rejection. However, the Arbiter continued, "Your demonstration of solving the Cavalian equation has provoked significant interest. Your claim that human cognition offers unique perspectives appears to have merit." The chamber remained unusually silent, every representative seemingly intent on the proceedings. "Therefore, the Council has reached an unprecedented decision. Earth will be granted observer status. Not full membership nor provisional membership, but a special designation created specifically for your case." Murmurs spread throughout the chamber as the Arbiter explained. "Observer status will permit human representatives to attend Council sessions, contribute to scientific and cultural exchanges, and establish limited trade agreements with member worlds. However, humans will have no voting rights, no access to restricted technologies, and Earth will remain under Council protection, but also Council supervision." Olivia exchanged quick glances with her team. This was neither acceptance nor rejection. It was something entirely new. The Council had created a special category just for humans. "We are grateful for the Council's consideration," Olivia responded carefully. "May I inquire about the terms of advancement from observer status to full membership?" The reptilian delegate who had been hostile during their first appearance answered before the Arbiter could speak. "Advancement will require Earth to demonstrate planetary unification, significant technological progress, and most importantly, a reduction in conflict. The Council will not admit a species still engaged in warfare among its own kind. Olivia nodded. These terms are reasonable. Earth will work diligently to meet these requirements. The Grand Arbiter raised a hand. There is one more condition. The Council requires a human representative to remain permanently on this station as a liaison. This representative must be someone who can speak for all Earth nations and provide insight into human cognition and decision-making. This unexpected request caused Olivia to hesitate. No single human could represent the diverse perspectives of Earth's many nations. More concerning, whoever remained would be essentially isolated among alien species far from home. "I volunteer," said a voice behind her. Olivia turned to see Marcus stepping forward. Dr. Marcus Wells, Xenolinguistics and Cultural Anthropology. He introduced himself to the Council. "I have studied 17 Earth cultures and speak 12 languages. I can provide the insight you seek into human diversity of thought." The Arbiter's 4 eyes blinked in their strange sequence. "Your offer is accepted. Dr. Wells, you will be assigned appropriate quarters and granted limited access to Council archives to facilitate your role." Olivia was about to speak when a commotion erupted from one of the higher platforms. A delegate with multiple eye stalks was gesturing emphatically. "Arbiter, this decision is unprecedented. The humans should be quarantined until they prove themselves capable of peaceful cooperation. Their observer status grants them too much access too quickly." Other voices joined. Some in support of humans, others expressing concern or outright hostility. The chamber descended into a cacophony of alien languages with translator devices struggling to keep pace. The Grand Arbiter raised all 4 arms, but the commotion continued. Olivia exchanged concerned glances with her team. This level of discord within the usually orderly council was unexpected. Then, to everyone's surprise, Marcus stepped to the edge of the podium and produced a sound that cut through the noise. A perfect, sustained musical note that somehow resonated with the chamber's acoustics. The delegates fell silent, many turning their various sensory organs toward the human. "Forgive my interruption," Marcus said into the silence. "On Earth, we have a custom when discussions become heated. We pause, we breathe, and we listen. May I suggest we do the same now?" The chamber remained quiet, the delegates seemingly intrigued by this unusual intervention. The Grand Arbiter lowered its arms. "The human demonstrates wisdom. Let us proceed with order." The remaining proceedings went smoothly with terms of Earth's observer status formally recorded. As the session concluded, many delegates approached the human team, curious about Earth and its people. Later, as they prepared to return to Earth, minus Marcus, who would remain as humanity's permanent representative, Olivia took a moment alone with him. "Are you sure about this?" she asked. "You'll be alone here, surrounded by beings who may see you as little more than a curiosity or potential threat." Marcus smiled. "I'll be humanity's eyes and ears in the heart of galactic politics. Besides, I've already identified at least 3 species who seem genuinely interested in human culture. This is the opportunity of a lifetime." As their ship departed the massive council station, Olivia watched through the viewport as it diminished in size. Earth had gained a foothold in galactic society, not as equals, but as acknowledged participants with the potential for growth. What none of the council members knew was that humanity's unified response to First Contact had accelerated Earth's political unification more than any internal event could have. The process the council demanded was already well underway. Earth would be ready for full membership sooner than the Galactic Council expected. "The political situation is evolving rapidly," Marcus reported, his voice clear despite the 20 light-year distance. 3 major council factions have emerged regarding Earth. The progressives support accelerating our path to full membership, believing human creativity could benefit the council. The traditionalists advocate maintaining our observer status for at least 50 years, and the isolationists— He paused. "They're pushing for revoking our status entirely, arguing that humanity represents an unpredictable threat." Ambassador Olivia Marsh leaned forward in her seat at the circular table, surrounded by representatives from Earth's 7 unified regions. "Which faction holds the most influence?" "Currently the traditionalists, but there's an opportunity developing. The Vermilion crisis has the council deadlocked." The Earth representatives exchanged glances. The Vermilion crisis, a dispute over resource rights in a distant star system, had been mentioned in previous briefings, but deemed irrelevant to Earth's immediate concerns. "How does this create an opportunity for us?" asked Representative Alan Rivera from the North American region. Marcus's holographic form shifted as he accessed data from his end. The crisis involves competing claims to a rare element called vermilium, essential for certain advanced technologies. The dispute is between the Tricani Collective and the Boros Imperium, both powerful council members with significant allies. Neither side will compromise, and the council's traditional resolution methods have failed. Olivia's mind raced with possibilities. And you believe humans might offer a solution where the council has failed? Marcus nodded. Exactly. I've been studying the details. The dispute appears intractable using their conventional diplomatic frameworks, but I believe we can approach it from an angle they haven't considered. General Cole, who had been part of the original delegation to the council, looked skeptical. We'd be inserting ourselves into a conflict between civilizations thousands of years more advanced than our own. The risk is enormous, so is the potential reward, countered Raj Patel. If humans broker a solution to a crisis that has stumped the council, our status would be dramatically elevated. The debate continued into the night, Earth's leaders weighing the risks against the potential benefits. Eventually, a decision was reached. Earth would offer its assistance in resolving the Vermilion crisis, but through Marcus alone, maintaining deniability if the attempt failed. 2 days later, Marcus stood before a smaller council session specifically addressing the crisis. His request to speak had been granted only because several progressive faction members had supported it. Esteemed council members, Marcus began, as Earth's representative, I have been studying the Vermilion crisis with great interest. While I acknowledge that human perspective is limited by our shorter history and developing technology, perhaps that very limitation allows us to see possibilities that more established viewpoints might overlook. The Tricani representative, a being with crystalline features that refracted light in hypnotic patterns, responded with obvious skepticism. The dispute involves complex legal precedents established over thousands of cycles. What could a species barely a century into space travel possibly contribute? Marcus nodded respectfully. Precisely because we are unencumbered by those precedents. On Earth, we have a concept called fresh eyes. Sometimes one who is unfamiliar with established procedures can identify solutions invisible to experts. The Boros representative, a massive entity composed of interconnected organisms functioning as a single consciousness, rumbled its response. The Imperium is willing to hear the human perspective, if only for its novelty. With permission granted, Marcus activated a holographic display showing the Vermilion system. The fundamental conflict arises because both parties have legitimate claims under different sections of council law. The Tricani discovered the Vermilion deposits first, giving them discovery rights. The Boros control the surrounding systems and establish the infrastructure necessary for safe extraction, giving them development rights. Both representatives signaled agreement with this assessment. Council law treats these rights as mutually exclusive. One must take precedence. But what if they didn't have to? Marcus manipulated the display, showing a new configuration of mining operations and processing facilities. Earth recently faced a similar dispute over deep-sea mining rights. Our solution was a hybrid approach we called integrated stewardship. Rather than assigning exclusive rights, both parties take different roles in a unified operation. The display showed the Tricani controlling the actual extraction of vermilium, utilizing their superior mining technology, while the Boros managed processing and distribution through their established infrastructure. Most importantly, the model showed profit distribution that grew more equitable over time for both parties compared to their exclusive claims. This approach doesn't just split the difference, Marcus explained. It creates a system where cooperation becomes more profitable than competition. The Tricani expertise in precision extraction reduces waste by 40% compared to standard methods, while Boros processing efficiency increases yield by 35%. Together, you produce more than either could alone. The council chamber fell silent as representatives studied the proposal. It wasn't a compromise in the traditional sense. It was a completely different framework that rendered the original dispute almost irrelevant. The Grand Arbiter, who had been observing silently, finally spoke. The human presents an interesting alternative. Both primary parties will have 14 cycles to review this proposal before responding. As the session concluded, Marcus found himself surrounded by curious representatives from various species. The human approach, Restructuring the problem rather than resolving the conflict within existing parameters had sparked considerable interest. Later, in his private quarters, Marcus received a secure transmission from Earth. "You've created quite a stir," Olivia's voice came through. "Our monitoring of Council communications shows a significant increase in discussions about human problem-solving approaches." "It's just the first step," Marcus replied. "The real test will be whether the Tricani and Boros accept some version of the proposal. But regardless of the outcome, we've demonstrated human value." Olivia's image smiled. "Meanwhile, we've made progress here too. The Asian Pacific and African regions have formally unified their defense systems, bringing us one step closer to meeting the Council's unification requirements." What neither of them said aloud, though both understood, was that Earth was accelerating its development specifically to meet Council requirements, advancing decades faster than it might have otherwise. The pressure of Council expectations was ironically helping humanity overcome its historical divisions. As Marcus prepared for sleep in his quarters designed for a physiology very different from his own, he reflected on humanity's unique position. Earth was racing to catch up with civilizations millennia more advanced, yet already finding ways to contribute perspectives those ancient species had never considered. The Vermilion crisis might be just the first of many opportunities for humanity to demonstrate its value to the galactic community. If his proposal succeeded, Earth's path to full Council membership might be measured in years, rather than the decades or centuries the Council had anticipated. And that acceleration worried some Council members, perhaps with good reason. Humanity was adapting to the galactic stage far faster than anyone had predicted, including humans themselves. Artifact ID Wine Part 4. Type your text or markdown. Title: Humans at the Galactic Council, Part 4. The private chamber reserved for high-level Council negotiations hummed with tension, as representatives of the Tricani Collective and Boros Imperium sat across from each other, with Marcus Wells positioned between them. One human mediator between two of the most powerful civilizations in the galaxy, attempting to resolve a dispute that had threatened to escalate into open conflict. "The integrated stewardship model has been refined based on your feedback," Marcus explained, displaying the updated proposal. "Tricani extraction rights remain primary, while Boros maintains infrastructure and distribution control. The profit-sharing structure now includes acceleration clauses that benefit both parties as efficiency increases." The Tricani representative's crystalline features shimmered as it spoke. "The human model is unorthodox but potentially viable. The collective requires one additional assurance: priority access to 20% of raw vermilium for our research divisions." The Boros representative, its composite body shifting in what Marcus had learned to recognize as contemplation, countered immediately. "Acceptable only if the Imperium receives matching compensation in processed vermilium derivatives." Marcus nodded, making adjustments to the proposal. For 3 weeks he had shuttled between these representatives, gradually moving them toward agreement. The human approach, focusing on mutual benefit rather than competing claims, had slowly gained traction. "With these final adjustments," Marcus said, "are both parties prepared to present this resolution to the full Council?" After a tense moment, both representatives signaled agreement. Marcus suppressed his relief, maintaining the neutral expression he had carefully practiced. This was a pivotal moment, not just for resolving the Vermilion crisis, but for humanity's standing in the galactic community. 2 days later, the Grand Arbiter officially announced the resolution of the crisis. The agreement, formally named the Wells Protocol in recognition of the human mediator who had facilitated it, was approved by the full Council with only minor modifications. As Marcus stood before the Council to acknowledge the resolution, he noticed a significant change in how the delegates regarded him. No longer was he viewed as merely a curiosity from a primitive world. He had earned a measure of respect. The Grand Arbiter's voice resonated through the chamber. The successful resolution of the Vermilion crisis through the Wells Protocol demonstrates the potential value of diverse perspectives in Council deliberations. The human approach, while unconventional, has yielded results where traditional methods failed. Marcus bowed slightly, as was customary. "Earth is honored to have contributed to galactic stability. We hope this marks the beginning of increased cooperation between humanity and the Council." After the session, Marcus was approached by a representative he recognized, as belonging to the progressive faction, a being of living metal, whose voice emerged as harmonics from its vibrating surface. "Your success has strengthened our position," it said without preamble. "There will be a motion at the next full session to upgrade Earth's status from observer to provisional member." Marcus carefully controlled his expression, though his pulse quickened. "That's unexpected. Earth has not yet met all the unification requirements specified by the Council." The metallic being made a gesture equivalent to dismissal. "Requirements can be adjusted when circumstances warrant. Your resolution of the Vermilion crisis has demonstrated human value more effectively than any formal criteria." Later that evening, during his scheduled communication with Earth, Marcus relayed this development to the unified government. "Representatives, a potential upgrade to provisional membership would significantly increase our access to Council, resources, and technology," he explained. "However, it also carries risks. The isolationist faction will strongly oppose this motion, and their opposition could become more active if they feel humanity is advancing too quickly." Olivia's holographic image showed her concern. "Do you believe we should discourage this motion? Perhaps request more time as observers?" Marcus considered this carefully. "No, the opportunity is too valuable to refuse. But we should prepare for increased scrutiny and possibly active interference from those who see humanity as a threat." General Cole's image joined the conversation. "We've accelerated unification of our defense systems precisely for this eventuality. If hostile elements within the Council decide to act against Earth, we'll be as prepared as possible," Raj Patel added. "We've also been carefully analyzing the technology exchanges permitted under observer status. Our research teams have made remarkable progress adapting Council-level science to Earth manufacturing capabilities." The conversation continued late into the night, Earth's leaders strategizing how to navigate this unexpected acceleration of their galactic standing. None of them had anticipated that humanity would progress from first contact to potential Council membership in less than a year, 3 days before the scheduled full Council session where Earth's status would be decided. Marcus was working in his quarters when his security system detected an unauthorized access attempt. Someone was trying to breach his personal files. Marcus activated countermeasures designed by Earth's best cybersecurity experts, enhanced with what they had learned of Council technology. The intrusion was sophisticated, using methods beyond human capability, but the hybrid security system successfully repelled it. Tracing the attack revealed it had originated from a terminal associated with the isolationist faction. Marcus immediately reported the incident to Council security, while simultaneously sending an encrypted warning to Earth. The attack confirmed their suspicions. Elements within the Council were actively working against humanity's advancement. But rather than deterring them, it reinforced their determination. If some Council members feared human potential enough to resort to espionage, perhaps they were right to be concerned. The day of the full Council session arrived. The massive chamber was filled to capacity, with representatives from thousands of worlds in attendance. The motion to upgrade Earth's status was introduced by the progressive faction, citing the successful resolution of the Vermilion crisis as evidence of humanity's potential contribution to galactic governance. As expected, the isolationist faction vehemently opposed the motion. Their spokesperson, a being composed of swirling gases contained within a transparent exoskeleton, addressed the Council. "The humans have demonstrated cleverness. Yes, but cleverness without wisdom is dangerous. Their world remains fractured, their technology crude, their history steeped in conflict. Elevating them prematurely risks introducing instability to the Council itself." The debate raged for hours, with Marcus observing silently from Earth's designated position. Council protocol prohibited him from speaking during status deliberations about his own species. He could only watch as the fate of humanity's place in galactic society was decided. Finally, after extensive debate, the vote was called. The Council's voting system was complex, with each civilization's influence weighted by factors including age, population, technological development, and territorial extent. Earth, as a mere observer, had no vote in its own future. The results appeared as a glowing display above the central podium. The motion had passed, but by the narrowest margin in Council history. Earth would be elevated from observer to provisional member, with all the rights and responsibilities that entailed. As the session concluded, Marcus was approached by the Grand Arbiter itself, an unprecedented honor for a representative of his status. "The human path is now accelerated," the Arbiter said, its mental voice carrying complex harmonics that the translator rendered as concern, mixed with curiosity. "Not all welcome this development. Proceed with caution, Dr. Wells. The Council contains currents deeper than you perceive." Marcus bowed respectfully. "Earth understands the responsibility that comes with advancement. We will strive to justify the Council's decision." As he returned to his quarters to report this momentous development to Earth, Marcus reflected on the Arbiter's warning. Humanity had achieved in months what many species took centuries to accomplish, moving from first contact to provisional membership with unprecedented speed. But that very speed had created powerful opposition. The path ahead would be increasingly dangerous, as those who feared human potential would now have even greater motivation to impede Earth's progress. Humanity had earned its place at the galactic table. Now they would have to fight to keep it. First attack came without warning. 3 outposts on the edges of Earth's solar system went dark simultaneously. By the time unified Earth defense forces responded, the attackers had vanished, leaving behind devastation and a clear message. Humanity's rapid rise would not go unchallenged. In the Galactic Council chamber, Marcus Wells stood before the emergency session, his face grim but composed. 6 months had passed since Earth's elevation to provisional membership, months filled with technological exchange, diplomatic progress, and increasing tension with the isolationist faction. Earth formally requests Council investigation into these attacks, Marcus stated, his voice steady despite the gravity of the situation. "The weapons signatures do not match any technology known to humanity, suggesting involvement of a spacefaring civilization with advanced capabilities." The chamber erupted in conflicting responses. Representatives from the progressive faction expressed outrage and offered support. Traditionalists called for caution and thorough investigation. The isolationists remained conspicuously silent. The Grand Arbiter raised all forearms, restoring order. "The Council takes these allegations with utmost seriousness. An investigative team will be dispatched immediately." As the session continued, a representative from the Boros Imperium approached the central podium. Since the resolution of the Vermilion Crisis through the Wells Protocol, the Imperium had become one of humanity's strongest allies in Council politics. The Boros Imperium offers defensive support to Earth during this investigation, the massive composite being announced. "A flotilla of our vessels will establish a protective perimeter in the Sol system, with Earth's permission." This unexpected offer changed the chamber's dynamics instantly. The Boros possessed one of the most powerful fleets in the galaxy. Their protection would make further attacks on Earth significantly more difficult. Marcus acknowledged the offer with a formal bow. Earth gratefully accepts the Imperium's generous assistance. Later, in a secure communication room, Marcus spoke privately with Olivia and the Earth Unified Government leadership. "The Boros offer is genuine," he explained, "but also strategic. They've benefited substantially from the Vermilion Agreement and see humanity as a valuable future ally. More importantly, their involvement complicates matters for whoever orchestrated these attacks. General Cole's hologram showed her in the ruins of one of the attacked outposts. The technology used against us is beyond anything we've encountered, but our analysts found something interesting." She held up a fragment of twisted metal. "Molecular patterns consistent with Zorvan manufacturing." Marcus frowned. The Zorvan Ascendancy is one of the most vocal members of the isolationist faction. But they're also highly legalistic. Direct attacks would violate numerous council laws. Olivia leaned forward. "Unless they never intended us to find evidence linking back to them. This feels like a miscalculation. They underestimated our forensic capabilities. How should we proceed?" asked Representative Rivera. "Publicly accuse the Zorvans?" Marcus shook his head. "Not yet. The Council investigation gives us legitimate cover while we gather more evidence. Meanwhile, the Boros Protection Force's arrival buys us time." The meeting continued. Earth's leaders developing a multi-layered strategy that combined Council diplomacy, alliance building, and accelerated defense preparations. What none of them could have anticipated was how quickly events would escalate. 3 days later, the Council investigation team arrived at Earth, led by a respected neutral party, a Tellurian observer known for impartiality. Their examination of the attack sites confirmed what Earth scientists had discovered. Weapon signatures consistent with Zorvan technology, though with deliberate attempts to disguise their origin. As the investigation proceeded, Marcus worked tirelessly in the Council, building support among various factions. The Tricani Collective, like the Boros, had benefited from the Vermilion Resolution and pledged diplomatic support. Smaller civilizations that had previously been neutral began aligning with Earth's position, impressed by humanity's measured response to the attacks. Then came the second attack, but not against Earth. A Boros supply vessel supporting the defensive flotilla was destroyed while transiting near Jupiter. The attack pattern matched the previous assaults, but with one crucial difference: the attackers had left behind a disabled craft, and within it, a survivor. The captured attacker was not Zorvan as expected, but Medusan, a client species of the Zorvan ascendancy. Under questioning by Boros authorities, the captive revealed a disturbing truth. The attacks had been orchestrated by a secret coalition of isolationist faction members, united in their determination to halt humanity's advancement before Earth achieved full Council membership. Armed with this evidence, Marcus requested an emergency full Council session. The chamber was tense as he presented the findings, including direct testimony from the captured Medusan attacker. These attacks were not the actions of rogue elements or isolated extremists, Marcus stated, his voice echoing through the vast chamber. They represent a coordinated attempt by Council members to undermine Earth's standing through violence, rather than legitimate political means. The Zorvan representative, a tall, gaunt being with gleaming black exoskeleton, rose to respond. These accusations are baseless. The Medusan prisoner is clearly coerced or confused. The Ascendancy categorically denies any involvement in these regrettable incidents. What happened next shocked the entire Council. The Grand Arbiter, who traditionally remained neutral in factional disputes, addressed the chamber directly. The evidence presented by Earth and confirmed by Council investigators is compelling. More troubling is that these actions represent not merely aggression against a single world, but a direct challenge to Council authority and law. The Arbiter's four eyes fixed on the Zorvan representative. The foundation of our 12,000-year peace is adherence to established protocols for resolving disputes. Any member who chooses violence over process threatens not just their target, but the stability of the Council itself. A vote was called, not merely on the Zorvan Ascendancy's culpability, but on a fundamental Council principle: whether attempts to subvert another civilization's advancement through clandestine violence constituted a primary violation of Council Charter. The vote was decisive. Even many traditionalists and some moderate isolationists sided with Earth, recognizing that allowing such tactics would undermine the very foundation of Council authority. The Zorvan Ascendancy and its closest allies found themselves suddenly isolated. The sanctions were swift and severe. The Ascendancy's Council voting rights were suspended pending a full investigation. Their representatives were restricted from certain Council proceedings. Most significantly, their trade routes through key systems were placed under Council supervision. As the session concluded, Marcus was approached by representatives from dozens of worlds, many of which had previously kept their distance from humanity. Earth's handling of the crisis was seeking justice through Council processes rather than retaliation, had earned respect across factional lines. The EU Grand Arbiter requested a private audience, with Marcus following the session, an unprecedented honor for a representative of a provisional member. The human approach continues to surprise us, the Arbiter said when they were alone. Many expected Earth to respond with military force when evidence of Zorvan involvement emerged. Instead, you chose to strengthen Council processes. Marcus bowed slightly. Earth understands that our future lies within the galactic community, not apart from it. We believe in the principles the Council was founded upon, even as newcomers to that community. The Arbiter's mental voice carried tones the translator rendered as thoughtful contemplation. Perhaps that perspective, seeing value in our oldest traditions, while bringing fresh approaches to their implementation, is precisely what the Council has needed. When Marcus next addressed the Earth Unified Government, he delivered news that none had expected so soon. The crisis has accelerated Council politics in our favor, he explained. A motion has been introduced to grant Earth full membership status, Not in years as we hoped, but within months. Olivia looked stunned. That's unprecedented. No species has moved from first contact to full membership in less than a decade, let alone a single year. Marcus nodded. The attacks against us backfired completely. Instead of halting our progress, they showcased humanity's commitment to Council principles. Our restraint and victory proved more persuasive than any technology or resource we could have offered. General Cole seemed less enthusiastic. The Zorvans and their allies won't accept this defeat easily. We should expect continued opposition, possibly more subtle but no less determined. Agreed, Marcus replied. But we've gained something more valuable than security guarantees. We've built actual alliances based on mutual respect, not just mutual interest. The Boros, the Trakani, and now several mid-tier civilizations see humanity as a valuable partner. As the communication concluded, Olivia remained alone in the chamber, contemplating humanity's extraordinary journey. Fruit of exclusion from galactic society had accelerated unification efforts that might otherwise have taken